Let's have a look at the props of the Layout category. Select a text heading. On the Styles panel, open the Layout tab. Here you can see the display, width, height, and overflow props. The display prop specifies the display behavior of an element. The default display property of this element is the block value. It's gray. It means that initially it starts with a new line and takes up the whole width. There are a lot of other display values, so let's review the main ones. Block displays an element so that it takes up the whole width. You can set the height and width values. Inline embeds an element between neighbor elements. The height and width values can't be set. Inline block embeds an element between neighbor elements. You can set the height and width values. Flex displays an element as a block level flex container. Grid displays an element as a block level grid container. None doesn't display an element on the page. We'll cover flex and grid in another video. Now let's look at width. It's the width of an element. When display is set to inline, this property isn't applied. The gray color defines the default value that the property inherits from the browser. The width property can be set in pixels, percent, m, and any other unit accepted in CSS. What happens if we add multiple units? They will be converted into a calc expression. To increase or decrease the value, you can use shortcuts. The up arrow increases the value by 1. Press the up arrow and Command on Mac or Control on Windows to increase the value by 100. Press the up arrow plus Alt to increase by 0.1. Press the up arrow plus Shift to increase by 10. The down arrow decreases the value by 1. The min width prop defines the minimum width of an element. The max width prop defines the maximum width of an element. The height prop sets the height of an element. As with width, when display is set to inline, this property isn't applied. The height property can also be set in different units. Let's add a value in VH. 50 VH is 50% of the height of the browser window where the page will be viewed. The keyword auto can be used as a value for both height and width. In this case, the browser calculates the value itself based on the content of the element. As well as width, height has its min and max properties, which define the minimum and maximum height of an element. The last props here are overflow X and overflow Y. They specify whether to clip the content when it doesn't fit into the container. Use the overflow X property to determine horizontal clipping. The default value is visible. Change it to hidden. The part of the text that overflows the container disappears. Add a scroll bar. Now you can scroll the hidden part of the text. The auto value will show the scroll bar when it's needed and hide it when it's not. Use the overflow Y property to determine vertical clipping. That was an overview of the props of the Layout category.